The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2021 Valero Texas Open Bets, Picks, Preview, One and Done. We have it all here for you, plus a recap of what happened last week. Before we get into it, smash the like button to the video. In the comment section of the video, please leave your winner. Who do you think is going to win? Who you want to bet for the Valero Texas Open? Maybe even using a one and done. To leave it all down there. We can always use the engagement to help out the analytics. That's why we do it. Just like leaving a rating and review for the Pat Mayo Experience on Apple Podcasts. Please do that. That always goes a long way in helping out everything for the show. But a big ask this week, we're giving away two $100 giveaways for everyone who subscribes to the Mayo Media Network newsletter. You can find that in the description of this video and podcast. So you do that. It takes like 5 seconds. Enter your email address. Boom. You're in a draw for one of two prizes of $100. But here's the catch. I'm also giving away some official Masters gear, and the only way that you can win it is by being a member of that email list. Geoff Fienberg showcasing one of the hoodies. I believe I have one of those hoodies to give away as well.
There it is.
I have a polo. The problem is, I guess it won't be a problem for our American viewers, but if you're a Canadian viewer, the sizes are a bit wonky.
I've never won. Sizes aren't really a problem for me.
But like I think that's a large.
Yeah, no, it fits perfectly.
Because you were like, get me an extra large, and I was like, nah, man, American sizing's a bit different.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's incredibly comfy. I'm not kidding. It's like comfy, just like my Fantasy National sweatshirt.
Yeah,
like it's got that comfy vibe, and I wore it this week to remind me that just take it easy. Keep your composure. Something big is on the horizon. Throw some fun little wind darts at the Valero, but don't catch yourself overexposed to anything because it's all coming, and it's weird how fast it snuck up on me.
It really is. Masters a week away.
Woo!
Masters content week 2, live cut sweat show. It's going to be fun. I have no Masters bets in yet whatsoever. You have Morikawa, I think, is the other one.
And and there's a few that I'm staring at right now. Should I share them?
Yeah, well, let's do that in a second. Again, if you want to get in on some of the Masters giveaways, I'll have pictures of all of the items that you could potentially win in that newsletter. So please subscribe to the newsletter. The Listeners League link for DraftKings this week, available in the description of the video and pod as well. $15 to play, 3 max entry, no rake. Obviously, you know about it. The faster we fill it, the larger it's going to be for the Masters. So please go do that. Also, Geoff, how you doing in the one and done?
Oh, I think I'm out.
Yeah, I'm not doing great. One of my teams is doing okay, but I'm also out. Guess what? New one and done. Major season.
Because I honestly think I forgot a match play pick.
That's not great.
But I was like out already, and I'm one of those guys like...
Once you're out, you're out.
When I'm down 3-0 in FIFA, I'll just hit restart. Like, we're going to redo this game.
Well,
this is actually, the timing of this is great news.
So it's going to be fantasygolfchampionships.com. The link again in the description down there right now. It's $100 to play. It's set up just like the race to the Mayo Cup, but it's going to be 17 events from the Masters to the British Open. And it's just going to be another way you can try to chase your losses in the one and done this season. I'm already in. We'll get you in. So everyone out there right now, if you were subscribed to the newsletter, you got the updated info on this. Everyone who subscribed early got the push notification that, hey, you can go subscribe to this. It's going to fill so fast, so I highly recommend that you get in right now, fantasygolfchampionships.com. All stats and tools today provided by fantasynational.com. Fantasynational.com/Mayo. Get you 20% off. Probably want to do that with Masters coming up. And let's talk Masters for a second. I was going to lead with the match play, but give me your bets so far for the Masters. People want to know that because I have none, and people keep asking me like, oh, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to Atlantic City. Get my bets. And it's like, you don't want to bet right now. The odds are fucking terrible. Just wait till the Monday, and the odds will get way better. I looked at it yesterday. There's 18 guys, 20 to 1 or worse. Like, fuck that.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
It's not going to be the case on that
so
Monday.
I have one bet, and I've identified 2 that I could be tempted to make. But it's almost impossible for a guy's odds to get worse at this point. If you want to bet the Masters now, I think I joked about this when we did that Players show. Like, that was it because the odds were out super early. Like, if you want to bet the Masters now, the books are like, sure, we're this drug den. Like, come get it. Because, do you know what I mean? Yep. Like, if you need that crack at this moment, here, it's available to you. but the competition, the placing, everything's going to heat up big time next week. It's incredibly volatile too, which we could talk about as well. In terms of like the current status of some of these super elites, but maybe we'll talk about that in a moment. So for me, I have a Morikawa at 40. Just felt like talent, world ranking, field. Once he showed he could do it again, came back from Christmas, big event guy. I understand the shot shape might not be ideal for Augusta. That's something we could break down on the previews. But 40-1 on Morikawa seems something I was willing to go to the wall with. There are two I'm looking at, though, Pat, as of this morning, looking at them. 44 available to me on Daniel Berger. Showed me he was healthy. That was the one concern. Healthy. I would trust him if we got to Sunday and it's him versus a big boy. Or he needs to do something. That's a big part of my willingness to bet it. Bermuda is sort of his bag.
But this is bent, the Masters.
Sorry, I do believe I'm just thinking like SEC country guy.
I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I'm excited about him. I'm still insulted. We disagreed on whether he should have been allowed to play last year or not. It doesn't matter. He is there, and he won't have any fall conditions in his mind. If that means anything, I don't think any of these guys would. But I do think he's one of those guys that we do believe is capable that will be kind of forgotten. So there's that. Another one, we're worried about the irons, though, Pat. But a book, we can bet, you can bet, lots of people can bet. Maybe there's others better out there. Sung Jae Im is a 50.
That's
and
not a
how
bad
he
number.
did it the debutante way, how he just slays everywhere he goes pretty much. You mentioned it. Like, yeah, there's that 6 under round, but he's following those up with like a 5 over. So we got to clean up.
You know what he's doing? He's what we call pulling a Fleetwood.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, geez, I'm familiar with those. But 50, him, like another guy I would totally trust if I had that late tee time Sunday with a big boy. So those are out there. Those are two I'm looking at. I haven't made them yet because it's what has to happen in the next 7 days for a guy's odds to get worse. Now that
the only guys,
a couple guys,
two guys
will be
in particular.
popular potentially.
Yeah, but there's two guys in particular whose odds could potentially get worse. If Finau somehow wins this week, he goes from 22 at DraftKings Sportsbook to, I don't know, 18 or
I'm
something
seeing a
like
30.
that.
It's
yeah,
fair.
you can find a better number than that. That's true. But then, like Spieth's at 14 at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Could get worse.
If he wins
It
this
could
week,
get
he'll be
worse.
the favorite.
I'll book it. I'd be tempted to book these 14s. Actually, which scares me from booking the 14s would be one, I actually think he can win this week. I'm not betting it. We'll get to that. Two, quickly breaking down like the super elites, which is kind of the reason I never between the fact that the last Masters was so recently, we didn't really, I don't know, like you, I didn't really have a futures card. But the reason I didn't really want to make Masters bet is because I figured I was going to hammer like one of the big boys. I just didn't know who yet. And I wasn't ready to make that decision. And now there's a lot of questions up there from Rom on Baby Watch, which I might still be willing to go to the wall with because the first one usually comes late. I don't know, maybe that's a myth's tale. Rory looks a little slippery, but... And like, is he going to fix it there? I don't know.
Well,
Brooks might not play. Justin's obviously off that win, so that's great. He's in a fine spot. Bryson, well, it's like people will like, is the way he's going to go about doing it going to work? But there's no questions about his form. I mean, he won at Bay Hill.
Yeah, but he didn't advance from his pod at the match play. How good could he be?
But here's the other part about the Masters and dissecting players, Pat. Because as a handicapper, you could make a case, and maybe it's just you're mentally willing to convince yourself of anything you want to convince yourself of. But the last two events in where we saw the elite players play, you can make a case you can like almost throw them out of like all kinds of modeling. Could you not? Like the players and match play.
And
like
the match play won't even have like accurate stats.
Yeah. And the players, like it's easy to be like, well, guy got God at Sawgrass. Who gives a shit? Or you could say, played great at Sawgrass. I love it. But
yeah, spin it any way you want.
Any way you want. But the last two events of the big boys are kind of like throwaways if you want them to be. And someone's like laughing at me. You're going to throw away the results of those last two events? I'm not. If I wanted to bet a guy, I promise you I could convince myself I can.
How about this one? How about this odd for the Masters? Lee Westwood, 25-1. He's playing well.
That's amazing.
Good for him.
We'd cry for him, but
This is
I
funny
could
to look
bet
at.
Cantley at that number, can't I?
Yeah, he's the same number as Cantley, and Reed is 30.
I mean, you feel bad for Lee because the 2 par saves Sergio made in the playoff and then the
hole
hole in
in one.
one. Like, wow. I don't have Masters odds in front of me, but that's what I'm thinking about. Of the guys, like, avoiding the super elites of, like, the next tier, at the moment, it is Cantley that has my attention. I don't know how good of a number I would be able to get, but I'm not ready to make a move because there's a lot to think about. But skipping that top tier, it's Cantley who I think I like the most.
There is 100 at a place on Bubba right now. Do
you remember how
steamed he got?
How
Yeah.
steamed he got because he showed great in Sherman Oaks in California.
He was great during the swing season.
Yeah, the form was great, and oh my god, like his approach stats are insane. We're going to Augusta, so he got steamed, and I see no reason why he won't get steamed again. That's an incredible number.
It's 50, 40, 60, depending on where you look at most places, but there is 100 lingering out there as well. And the only other one is like Wolf is still 125.
People message me, why my feed was inundated with questions. I don't want it.
I don't want it either. I love Matthew Wolf, but
PGA Championships, U.S. Opens. They're not going to give you the 100, but his strengths play there more so to me than they are an advantage at the Masters.
no, I think that the rest of his game needs to be fine-tuned a little bit for the Masters, like the around the green game, the putting. But I mean, he's shown flashes of that, but he has what I would consider the right shot shape. He definitely has the distance, and his irons are like Bryson's. They're either awesome or terrible.
Yeah, I'm just not. I won't besmirch it, but I'm not there to bet it.
Of the guys like 100 and beyond, he would be my preference.
I need to look at that.
Like,
What do you want?
if it's like Kisner or Wolf, like I actually think that Wolf would have a chance to win. Kisner probably beats him 9 times out of 10 in terms of finishing position. But if we're just talking win only, I do think that someone like Matthew Wolf does have value. I don't think that I'll get there on him, but I understand it at really inflated odds because he does have the right type of game to do well at Augusta.
Okay. Yes. Match play. There was call it an outlier for what we've seen. But let's remember, like, guys got together at Bay Hill, Bryson won. Big boys got together, Justin won. Part of the conversation is like, what do you take your 8 points, I guess, each way, or your extended?
Or just bet the top 10 when it comes down to it.
I'm just not.
The only way that we ever see a Masters winner from like the funky side of the odds is when the weather gets involved. And I mean, you can go look at the weather right now if you want, 2 weeks out. I don't know if that's really going to tell you all that much. But if it does look like it's going to be shitty like 2 of the days, then like your Fitzpatricks and like that type of player.
What's funny is every time I'm like, no, like literally there's 30 guys who can win this tournament. Everyone else can buzz off. And they're like, yeah, but you picked Willett. And I'm like, I know, but that's different. It's not happening.
Yeah, it was the greatest luck sack that we ever hit. Like, I would say if you're going to look down, the only one at triple digits that actually has my interest at the moment is Fratelli, who played really well at Augusta in November.
Leishman?
No, I said Fratelli.
I'm just throwing out another one as triple
Well, I said
digits.
there's one guy who has my attention that I told you his fucking name. Then you're just going to start naming names with Jeff?
Oh, sorry.
you go.
Well, no, that's for the end of the show.
And there's Mike Stone?
I need a big win.
Hostler, Streelman, Palmer. I'm naming names. He's got some new jams, by the way.
He does have some new jams, but I'm into that new FedEx Cup jam.
Oh, there's a FedEx Cup jam?
Yeah, it's like, I need a big win. I need a big win.
In terms of recap, do you want to start with match player Corrales? I want to start with Corrales. I know that's probably unpopular, but I had the Sam Ryder money, and then I got a message from you. It's like, hey, can Ryder win this? I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And I flipped it out. I was like, oh, my God, it's a hurricane.
Yeah, and they were, one... He lipped out on 18 also for birdie.
Yeah, I didn't see that until they started showing the replay when Damon was on 18. Shout out to Joel Damon. We love Joel Damon.
Joel Damon, yeah.
He's the guy. We love him. I'm glad he won. Poor Campos, man.
That was,
he had the fist
cocked. He was cocked. That was good. It was an entertaining watch. I thought the Ryder had life because they were headed into the devil's elbow.
That's a tough...
With a one-shot lead in those conditions.
No one could get to number 17. No one.
from when I started watching, the only two guys that they showed get on 18 green and reg was that
Campos.
final group. So they both got to the tee, and I'm like, well, they might make par, but they're going to be scrambling for par. I didn't think so great shots into 18. I guess a good finish. I was out and about. Would it have been Saturday? My phone was lighting up that Willett was on the move.
And he went, "Boo." His Sundays have been bad every time he's been in contention over the past year and a half. Remember Memorial? I think he was 10 over.
Yeah, whatever. He got. But it's nice to see him out of his COVID thing, having some run before he shows up.
He's 150 to 1 this week.
Really?
Yeah, he's in this field at Valero at least. But yeah, Corrales is kind of it's my favorite of the alternate events. I like that course.
I like that Campos gets to claim them all as home games.
Well, he's good at all of them.
Does he have a house at all of them? Because everywhere seems to be
he does have residency in Dominican Republic as well. So Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, he's good.
It's like Phil. People would get annoyed because everywhere he'd go, like it's a home game. What do you mean? Every New York's a home game for Phil. Arizona's a home game for Phil. California's a home game for Phil.
That's a cussed tradition, claiming they're all home courses for Phil. Well, Wingfoot and Shinnecock are home courses for Phil. Okay. Match play. What a bloodbath. I was feeling so good on Friday morning. I was showing you my lineups, being like, I'm going to have 6 of 6 go through, and I'm going to win $250,000 this week. Fratelli's going to win. We're going to cash some big numbers. Everything's going to be great. And then everything just went in the afternoon. The biggest disappointment to me was Answer. He was winning on the back nine.
We didn't talk about this, but I've been thinking about it all morning. He plays Billy in the round of 16. That's his road! What the fuck, Abraham? Victor was good. Victor kept the pressure, but there were multiple spots to just close out the match, bro.
How bad was that final?
I didn't care.
I barely watch it, but every time I tuned in, it was shank, miss putt. So shout out to everyone who had Horschel. He was 80 to 1.
Yeah, I saw a lot of pretty more popular than I thought he would have been. I know by Tyndale at Betfair, who I love reading his articles, had him. A few people wasn't feeling it. And credit to Billy, I'll say one thing, because we love to make fun of him for his quirky things and stuff.
I think you like to make fun of him. I'm just more enamored with his vascularity.
Oh, yeah, that was out. But I just mean, the self-talk wasn't there at all. And the self-talk, the only time the self-talk for Billy showed up was when he was in a dogfight with Max on Wednesday. After that, I didn't see any Billy self-talk. And when he gets into that self-talk, it's when it's not good for him. And through all of the double barrel days on the weekend, there was little to no Billy self-talk.
And it's
can we all play with that? Come on, Billy. Even when he hits the worst shot ever, he just kind of laughed it off. So good, great for him.
It's usually when the irons and driving get off with him, and that wasn't really the case for him all week. The driving was great, the irons were great. He really wasn't putting all that well on the weekend. He could have won a lot of these matches by a whole lot more. It felt like if he had been making, because usually it's Billy's driving the ball out of bounds, but he's making every 20-foot putt. He's rattling himself off the tee, but he's saving himself on the greens. It was sort of the opposite. So I felt like he kind of decided hey, if I'm striking it well, let's just kind of roll with that. Everything will work out. This course is perfect for match play, for one thing. The other thing that I forgot is how good it is for lefties. All 3 of the lefties advanced out of the group stage. Once again, even Bobby Mack killing my Dustin Johnson dreams.
Incredible match play course. And I swear I heard an interview on radio on Wednesday that held pertinent the whole week. And it's great to see a guy that I hear say something on the Wednesday of the event and, subsequently see him play through the whole event. They asked him about the 13th hole. He said, I'm going to lay up there all week. All week. The worst I'll ever have laying up is 15 feet for birdie. And every match, as the matches through the weekend, you see laying up, making your opponent have to do something. So yeah, Billy, and even there was a moment even in one of his later tournament post-round interviews, maybe after Friday, Pat, where who did he beat in a playoff? Max. He's like, sometimes events, wanting it more doesn't work for me, but like I feel like in this format it works for me. And then I'm thinking like, oh, the like hard analytic guys are like probably chuckling at him like so hard, like you want it more, ha 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 ha. You think you want it more, ha ha ha. I don't know. It's great to see. He's a character, part of the TV show. Happy to see him win.
I
was upset.
Where was all the buzz of Billy Horschel, Ryder Cup team, match play specialist? Does that only apply to Kevin Kisner? I'm sorry. So Wednesday and Thursday, get Kevin Kisner a spot on the Ryder Cup team. But then he loses to Matt Kuchar, who's also been good in this event. Yeah. Where's Kuchar's buzz to be on the Ryder Cup team?
That's pretty funny. You mentioned that to me. How come through the week there wasn't like, why wasn't Kuchar getting essentially keeping his spot as opposed to losing it to Kisner when they've done the exact same things?
I find it really funny that when you and I broke down the Ryder Cup in France a few years ago, we talked about having Kisner on that team. Good match play guy. We'd seen that before, and that course was perfect for him. Yeah. This Whistling Straits is not perfect for Kevin Kisner at all.
In the same way, you have been hammer fisting the desk that Lee Westwood making that Ryder Cup team is not good for Europe at that course.
Maybe if he continues to play like this, it will be fine. But just having him on the team when he's not like elite Lee Westwood, more like regular Lee Westwood, it'd be like having Graham McDowell on the team. Like, I don't know if Poulter would be good at that course either. Like, I'd take my shot with Thomas Peters. Just give me the guy who fucking bombs it. Yeah.
Hey, I had fun. Stricker was replying to tweets all weekend. That's fun. That's part of the gig. I would argue now, maybe in my head of the team, like Scheffler might have knocked out Berger's spot.
Now, Berger's won twice.
Scheffler's
yet to win. Oh, and like clockwork, Sunday Scheffler on TV with a lead, just shank. He's got to get over that.
He was in a Saturday assassin versus Poulter. Rahm didn't make many birdies. That was frustrating, but he never let him back in. My match play motto was as long as Rahm was alive, I was enjoying match play. That ended when Rahm ended. Scheffler even, who'd he play Saturday morning? Kuchar. Incredible little match. So he beats Rahm, Kuchar, and
Perez?
Poulter.
Oh, Poulter, yeah.
So that's this whole like, oh, Ryder Cup. I'm going to just take this to the weirdest place. I don't care that Scheffler looks scruffy. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, I don't give a crap about that. What he did I'll say all weekend, because that's really the only time like I hyper-focused on seeing him a ton. Him wearing like 2.5-year-old Nike kits really bothered me. Like, get this guy some fresh shirts. He's literally wearing the shirt pattern from the summer in which Molinari won and Wolf won. Like Bay Hill and when did Wolf win that event? Like, I know that shirt. And then on Saturday, he's wearing the zebra stripe. You get mad at me because I get a couple shirts that like have these side patterns that you like, they come off really bad on camera and they're tilting. He was wearing that pullover side pattern pullover on Saturday, was driving my eyeballs crazy.
It's better than the shirt that Damon got for winning the Corrales. That has to be... Did they go to the fucking pro shop? It was all wrinkly. It looked like a 13-year-old wearing his dad's dress shirt. It was so big.
You'd think, like, at least, I'll make a Masters joke. I'm not expecting you to have, like, their measurements on hand, but something, like, attainable, respectable.
It was a regular white dress shirt. That was the prize. At least Colonial and Heritage have, like, the tartan jackets. One's tartan, one's plaid, but still, like, it's something.
Yeah,
it's a
that
jacket.
Was great.
Here's a dress shirt, Joel. Check it on.
That was great.
You were tilted all weekend about Kevin Na in what was one of my favorite golf moments of the year so far. I loved it. I could not get enough to it. It just harkened back in my mind to a time I did it against Cust, and it threw Cust into such a fucking tailspin that he just completely melted down. What happened to Dustin? Next shot, out of bounds. Next shot, in the water. Why not just go to rattle Dustin? You're the underdog. You are the underdog.
As long as it is what it is, then. And okay.
And he didn't take the win for the hole, and he could have.
He should have.
I think he was just pissed off that Dustin's like, yeah, I'll do whatever I want. That was my kind of takeaway from it. Just ask me then. If you're gonna walk up to the fucking hole that's 6 inches away, just go fucking tap it in then.
Nas says there wasn't enough time for him. That's a lie.
Well, I didn't think that's what he thought he was doing.
That's
I think
a
he thought he
lie.
was walking in to tap it in.
Kevin Na feeling the need to mansplain to Dustin Johnson was pretty pathetic, but whatever. I don't even know whether you're...
Do you know what mansplaining is? I don't think you can mansplain to Dustin Johnson.
Yeah, when you like tell someone something...
The rules?
Listen, I'm not doing this because I feel like you would have just taken any side that I felt passionately about.
There's no passion on either side.
I'll tell you this. I feel
Na was
really
within
bad.
the rules.
I feel really bad. You know who I feel bad for? I feel bad for Kevin Na's daughter, who she's going to bring home a 93% on the hardest test in school, and Kevin's going to ask her where the other 7% was.
So Kevin's going to be like, my parents? That's what they would tell
I
me.
didn't know that I was teeing that up, but okay. I feel bad for you.
I didn't. It helped me excel.
Okay.
It was shitty at the time.
You get
being like, here's an A+, be like, yeah, you left points on the table here. This is a direct quote from my mom. And then she
I
would
do
make me go
like
study for 2 hours.
like hearing that you did it to cast and that it had an effect.
The way that I look at it is you're the lower seed in this, and to say that he's out of it is one thing, but there's still money on the line for him. There's FedEx Cup points on the line. There's money on the line. With a win there, he gets more money. He gets more FedEx Cup points.
So then take the hole then. Take the hole.
I don't think he wanted to be unsportsmanlike. I think what he felt was that Dustin was being unsportsmanlike by just saying, I'm going to do whatever I want, and I don't even need to wait for you. Like, I don't see why Kevin Na is the bad guy in all this, just because people love Dustin Johnson. Like, I had him in my DraftKings lineup, too. I wanted him to go on.
I would have. Kevin Na could have done that to anybody. He could have done that to Wiesberger.
I just enjoy that all, like, the real, like, golf people. Go do that. Go fuck yourself. Go fall on your fucking fainting couch.
No, a lot of the hardcore golf people do think Kevin Na's right, as far as I'm concerned.
I love it. Love it. It's guerrilla warfare. You are the underdog. You need to take advantage of any sort of advantage you can
then
get.
at least be honest. It would be like I'm protecting the field and I didn't have enough time. I put my arm around him.
Yeah, he was trying to be nice about it. I'm sorry for you. It's just Jeff's way or no way.
No, it's not
If you
my
don't
way
like
or
what
no
I
way.
do,
No,
then it's ridiculous.
No, I didn't say that, but I know you. And I know if someone did something to you on that like degree, you would
lose my mind, of course. But I would also try to do it to people too, because I know how much it would tilt me.
Like you would like I don't have the right. You wouldn't take kind to it. You wouldn't take kind to it. You would hold it against that person for a very long time.
Oh, for sure. But I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it to people too. Because I would and have. Because I know how just geared up it gets people.
I want to say
it clearly threw Dustin off.
I want to say this. Despite like what the tweets could infer.
Well, you just kept talking about it.
I love Kevin. My only mistake was I actually really do like the TV show that is Kevin Na. Like, and what he brings to the show, the TV show that we watch called Golf. So I should have just quickly chalked that into the parts of Kevin Na that I do like. Like, that's just Kevin Na being Kevin Na.
Do we have any other example of Kevin Na being like that?
No, not totally. Like, his very quirky ways, like, on course. I don't mean being, like, petty like that with opponents.
I don't think it was petty. I think he was following the rules. I don't
mean,
think you
like,
can be petty if you're following the rules.
I like the overall package that is Kevin Na. Like the overall package that we get on TV that is Kevin Na. And I should have just quickly attributed that to part of that overall package that I do like. But man, that was pathetic. Pretty much.
But you have yet to explain why it's pathetic.
It's a cop pulling you over for going 61 in a 60 and saying you're lucky I'm a nice guy.
Well, you are lucky he's a nice guy because you were speeding. I get that.
Again, you're just doing this because
I'm not.
Feel the other way. You'd have, if I felt what Kevin Na did was entirely right,
completely
you
disagree.
would have come here and completely done the other side.
No,
you would have.
That is absolutely not true.
It is. So I don't want to fall into this just like banter. My tweets are up.
But you're saying like breaking the rules is okay if I deem it okay, is what you're saying. That's your take on it. That whatever rule that you don't think should be a thing,
Kevin Na
is okay
never
to
missed a day of homework. Like, I just think he's a fucking dweeb for that. But I like the overall package.
I just don't get why. I just don't quite understand that take at all. Like
he is.
You
listen,
need to ask me. You can't just assume that I'm going to let you have it. And then other players during the week, there'd be 1 foot putts during the course of the week.
No, they're 1 foot putts at very important points in a match. Kevin, in my opinion, it was also premeditated by Kevin Na.
Maybe it was. Maybe he was setting him up for it.
To have a part in the TV show. Like it's like, no, watch this. Like there's this, like it was very premeditated and good for him. Good for him.
This is a terrible take. It's not well thought out at all.
I think
it's just a triggered reaction.
No, I think it was one of the most loser things I've seen on a golf course. That's it.
But he won, so it couldn't have been a losing play.
Okay, that's fine. I personally do feel like it was one of the most pathetic things I've seen on the golf course. Good for him. He won the match. Good for him. That's it. I think it was a pathetic scene. Overall, I like Kevin Na. I'm not like, and overall, like I like Matt Kuchar. I thought what he did with his caddy was pathetic, but I like Matt Kuchar. I made Matt Kuchar jokes. I've always been a Matt Kuchar fan. I'm allowed to have an opinion of an incident. I thought that was a pathetic thing that Na did.
But what I'm saying is I don't get where you're getting to pathetic around it. It just seems like you're triggered by the entire situation. And then that's just your like emotional reaction.
I think he's disrespecting the number 1 player in the world.
Oh, fuck off with that.
No, I do. That's where I am.
It's his fucking opponent.
Okay, that's great. You would take the other side. You would take whatever side I felt passionately opposite about.
I just don't get where any passion from this happens. He follows the rules. Here's what you do.
What? It actually didn't bother me at the time. And when it happened, it
didn't bother you at the time?
If you notice, my tweets didn't happen until the next day.
Oh, so you had to sleep on it.
When I saw how many people supported Kevin Na, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of nebby people out there.
Some people are a stickler for the rules. Not everyone just gets to skate by doing whatever they want, Jeff. Some people have to follow the rules. Kevin Na is not at Valero. Although he did once take a 16 at this course.
Again, part of the overall package of Kevin Na that I love. Not just the low points, like his victory at Colonial is amazing. And even his whole shtick the year before at Colonial where he won, where there's this great audio exchange between him and his caddy. Marvelous. Marvelous player. Should probably be mic'd up more now that I think about it. And I do think the walking in the putt stuff is like overplayed and like overrated. There are other things about Kevin Na that I like a lot more than that. I think that's like more like mainstream and overplayed.
I think that's, as Paul was talking about before the show, as we were discussing Bitcoin, and people are like all big on Bitcoin again, and people are like really big on Top Shots and NFTs. And just there's a lot of chatter about it. And then someone was calling other people like mainstream about it. It's like, it's not mainstream. It's like the people you follow on Twitter know about this stuff.
But it's golf mainstream.
I don't think it's golf mainstream.
Yeah,
I think it's golf Twitter mainstream, which is not golf mainstream. Golf mainstream is like what Faldo's package is on CBS.
Fair.
That's.
But dude, I would say that the Na walking in putts though has become very mainstream in the network broadcasts. Like they will show that even if he's 15 feet out, like 15 strokes off the lead, they will show him on the 14th hole walking it in. Like I think I could make an argument it is golf mainstream.
I would say that it's not because Kevin Na's rarely in contention, so we never see him on the broadcast.
Like I just said, he could be 15 shots off the lead if he's walking one in on.
I demand evidence of this ever happening, of them cutting away to Kevin Na, who's out of the tournament, to watch him walk in a putt.
I would guarantee it's happened. Guaranteed. I mean, that's my perception, but I would guarantee it. I don't have access to it. But we'll see.
You can go back and look. You want to do the research for it? Don't just skate by. Do the research.
No.
According to you, Kevin Na would do the research.
I like his little logo. He's got his own weird flair, but that was so.
Love Kevin Na. He's an especially profitable player to me.
That is true.
And I have very few profitable players.
You know what? It is rude of me to besmirch him in any way because I did cash in the Colonial. I did cash in with Greenbrier. So he is a player I am quite fond of, and I would say he's quite underrated overall.
Put him on the Ryder Cup team. Put him out there against Poulter, because Poulter would do this shit.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that actually triggered me more than anything during the broadcast this week. Was Palmer's dueling Rahm, like Stricker's taking notice. Kevin Na's making a charge. Stricker's taking notice. Like, no, he's watching. But like, what do you mean taking notice? Like, there's no fucking spots. Like, there'd have to be a tragic bus accident for those guys to make the team.
It's pretty locked unless someone like Scheffler, I think, has a legitimate case. Because he could go win 2 tournaments between now and then.
Who's in trouble? Like, Finau is probably now not as safe as he was. Like,
Finau, Berger, Cantlay.
I think Cantley's pretty safe. I think Cantley's safer than the other guys.
More than Finau?
Yeah.
Who's been on the team?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because Cantley's been on the team and Cantley wins Memorial and Cantley's never putting for par. Well,
except for when I take him, he's in the middle of fucking water. But like, who are the locks? Bryson, Dustin, Justin, Brooks if he's healthy.
Spieth is a lock now, man.
Xander, like those 5, and Morikawa, because I think
Morikawa's a lock.
He can't be caught on points, I don't think.
Yeah, he's a lock.
Those 6 guys. And then you have Spieth, Finau, Cantlay, Reed, Berger, Webb,
Scheffler.
Like that's the 12, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless like Bubba wins the Masters and Travelers, then he's in on points.
Or like, I don't know, does Kuchar win something bit? Like, can Kuchar get his spot back by being like a presence? I don't know.
I mean, what's he going to win? Heritage, and then all of a sudden he's on the Ryder Cup team?
But like, yeah, that's what I mean. And Whistling Straits doesn't exactly set up for Kuchar.
No, I mean, didn't exactly set up for Spieth, and Spieth did well there. Like, Keimer won there. So it's not inconceivable that these players could play well. Just I wouldn't say that they would be the best shots for it. But yeah, that's the way.
Who would be ahead of, would Berger be ahead of Finau?
I would have to think so. He has 2 wins the past year.
So Finau's the 12th man then right now, feels.
And you got to think they're probably taking him.
You would think they would. I mean, this week didn't go well, but he was one of the few bright spots in Paris.
Yeah, he actually really helped me out with Fratelli winning his group because he needed to beat, was it Streelman he was facing? It was someone he was facing. It was Kokrak.
Yeah.
He had to beat Kokrak on Friday for Fratelli to guarantee advance. And he did.
So, yeah, it's exciting. So, yeah, nothing is more tilting through the broadcast than them trying to convince the audience that certain guys had Ryder Cup chances. But I guess Billy Horschel now does.
Billy Horschel's entered the conversation.
Like, he has to have entered the conversation.
But even on points, he's still way back. So he'd really have to string something together here, I think, in order to get a nod. Because I'm just trying to think of like the other guys. Like the only other one I can actually see, because if he returns healthy and like wins and has some top end performances, would be Wolf. I mean, 2 top 5s at majors in the past year. If he goes out and puts in a performance at the Masters, wins another event, it's like, oh, he's hot, he's young, and he has the distance to play here. He's the only one I could see
but he would have to
from way out of the conversation to playing his way into the conversation.
But like there was a time where a year ago after, the PGA, after the US Open, he's like a front runner potentially. Now he's clearly behind Morikawa and Scheffler.
Well, yes.
Like
but,
in terms
but until this
week. But Morikawa's on the team.
So Morikawa's on the team, but until this week, Scheffler was way off the radar too. So it just takes one.
Yes.
He was outside the conversation.
Right,
there was no case that anyone was making like Scheffler over Finau. Now people are probably making that case.
Hold on though. I also actually thought about this while watching. Is it fair to put Scheffler in this conversation because he had a great week on his home course? Like
how many is every course in Texas his home?
No,
course?
but this is awesome. This was like a very.
He's a Longhorn, right?
Yeah, this was like they went here regularly often, apparently.
Can Spieth play himself off of the team?
Yes, if he because it's only March, it's April. If he does not win, Pat. And he then still doesn't he's not contending regularly through the second half of the season. Why is he on the team? Now, I think the format just is so perfect for him. Whether you saw it this week or saw the fact he can play team golf with somebody, even me, I've made my jokes. And we'll talk in a couple minutes. I don't want to bet it, but I think he's so freaking live to win this week.
Of course, he's the second best player in the field.
I mean, I'm tempted to bet it, but I just don't want to bet it at short. So yeah, there's too much time. If this was later in the year, he couldn't play himself off. But would you not agree there's still time for him to play himself off if Scheffler's
if he goes full Rickie and then all of a sudden he's back off the team.
Sure, but not even to go full Rickie, if he just goes, I don't know who to make fun of, but if he just
the only other guy,
Rickie's like a death cliff.
Yeah, the only other I could see potentially playing his way on. There's two guys actually, and they actually have a good run of tournaments coming up after this. It would depend on how they did in majors, and they would probably have to really press it. Would be Kokrak and Palmer, who are just, they have a lot of points as it is. That they're kind of floating around like the Scheffler zone in terms of overall points. They're not young, they're not whatever. But I think that people like Ryan Palmer a lot, and people seem to like Kokrak, although he's actually Canadian. But
I don't know. They'd have to like Billy Horschel the FedEx Cup.
Yeah, they would have to get a win,
something like deep and late, because them even winning now might not be enough. I mean, from a non-points perspective, they have to be hot when Strick's got to make the picks.
Yeah, it'll take a very high finish at one of the majors and to win one of like the Jabroni events before, be like, oh, look how hot he is. Get him on the team. It'll have to be one of those things. Let's talk Valero, though. Go ahead.
I want to say one thing. Well, despite being crazy, I am aware Kevin Na did nothing wrong. I just think what he did was very shit.
Okay. Valero Texas Open at TPC San Antonio, the Oaks course. Greg Norman designed with Sergio's help. He's been this course since 2010. It is 7,494 yards, 3 really long par 3s, 3 really long par 5s. One of the harder courses out there, despite the fact that Corey Connors won this the last time we saw it was 20 under. You can go super low at this course, but there's huge numbers lurking. And I think the one thing people remember about this tournament the most is that crazy wind split year. Remember that?
Yeah.
Where we gave Dustin a half win just because he fought his way back into the top 5.
He was the only player from
him and Ortiz.
Yeah, them to even make the cut or something insane.
It was a 4-shot difference between those waves on the first day, which is really ridiculous. But I think him and Ortiz were the only two to battle back to be inside the top 10 that year. But here are the winners: Connors, Landry. You hit Landry here. I had Mullenix that year. Chappell, Hoffman, Walker, Bowditch, Martin Laird, Ben Curtis, Brennan Steele, Adam Todd. Like, it's not a murderer's row.
No. I remember loving Bowditch. It was like
Walker.
walking in my buddy's wedding, but I had money on Walker, and I'm just like a mutant. Good for Bowditch.
It's a good ball strikers course, by and large. Not the greatest putters have won here in the past, so you can kind of go with it two ways. Like total driving would be something to look at. The way I built like a mini model outside of the one that I ran on Sunday during the breakdown show, but I did 60% approach, 30% driving distance, and 20% fairways gained, which would be accuracy. I think that distance does mean a little bit more than fairways here. We've just seen that play itself out over time. So those are the types of players. It's like when I see Connors and Landry and Chappell and Hoffman, like Chappell at the time, really good ball strikers, like just good off the tee, good on approaches. Maybe you can go make some putts. And that's the way that I'm looking at it this week. Just want guys that rate out highly in all of those things. So if we get into the odds, the faves for the week, Dustin is the favorite. He entered this after getting eliminated by Kevin Na. Decided to come play this tournament. He's 7-1. Finau's 13. Scheffler is 15. Spieth is 16. Connors 19 as the defending champion. Hideki 21. Answer 22. Though that is everyone 30-1 and below. So I told you before the show that someone's odds are off and glaringly off here. And I don't know if they're like actually off based on percentage they have to win, but they're on this board that you're looking at right now, Jeff.
Well, like Jordan Spieth. Is that what you're talking about?
The answer is Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson was plus 350 to win at Pebble. I'm pretty sure Dustin was 8-1 to win the Players 2 weeks ago. But he's only 7. He's 7-1 to win the Masters right now. But he's 7-1 to win this tournament? Shouldn't he be like 4-1, 3-1? Because he's Dustin Johnson. He's the only great player in this field.
So are the books questioning his motivation?
I don't know. I don't quite understand what's going on here. And I don't even know if I want to bet the 7-1. Might have to play the Dustin double. 7-1, 7-1 next week. Let's go.
Yeah, honestly, I looked right through it, to be honest, because it's just not a place on the board I was looking to mention. But I do totally understand when you say that, like it's glaring. line value, like to a certain extent.
Now 7-1 is probably the actual right number for this event, and the 7-1 at the Masters clearly is not
correct.
that case.
Yeah.
But it just seems really strange that he's the same odds this week as he is next week.
Agreed. I still don't want to bet it.
Okay.
And I guess, are we happy his presence here might have bumped up some numbers?
Yeah. Also, Spieth is 17-1 this week, or 16-1. He's 14-1 next week. I would gather that Spieth probably has an easier time winning the Valero Texas Open than he does the Masters.
Oh, he's the Masters wizard, though, Pat. I also think I've seen places where Spieth's the second name on the board.
Me too.
So that's a horrible Finau line. I don't know if I want to go to the wall with Scheffler. The only bet under 30-1 that would even have me considering is Abraham Answer.
Yeah, and that 22 is on the lower end. You can find a 25 at most places.
Just simply, I don't know, guys I bet and lose seem to be playing well the next week, but I thought he played well despite a blip at the end, and this course sets up kind of perfectly for Abe, and the field strength is low, and if I'm making a move under 30-1 this week, I'm going to go back to Abe, even though I got mad at him 15 minutes ago.
He had a really bad stretch of holes on the back nine in his third match. Outside of that, he was great last week. And that's how much it can flip in match play, especially in that tournament in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. And there were some nice low-scoring rounds at the Players, and I don't really care much for Abraham Answer to win the Masters because he's never won an event before, but I'm willing.
He won the Australian PGA.
Sorry, he's never won at the in America before. Listen, I think those Australian PGAs are no chump change events. Those are tough, real events.
Might have to bet 3 PGA Australia Championship winners this week. It might be my entire card.
Oh, like Matt Jones? Who else?
No, Matt Jones.
Cam Smith?
Cam Davis.
Oh. Yeah,
And who's the other one?
Cam Davis circled.
Harold Varner.
Could be onto something there with that. We comping Royal Melbourne or something?
No, I'm just trying to go through something. Because I don't, listen.
Yeah, Abe would be my one play under 30. Again, when it comes to Hideki,
Hideki gave us a huge assist. I had Harman to win his group. And if he hadn't have beat Cantlay on Friday, then Herman has no shot to get into the playoff with Cantlay and beat him to win the group. But Hideki did his part. So congrats, Hideki, for winning one match.
It's the same argument I've been making for Hideki for some time. I love Hideki. He's 28 years old. I don't understand how, for all the jokes that get made about winless droughts, Spieth and Finau are captains of it. Spieth ahead of Finau for obvious reasons because he's Spieth. But Hideki, I don't know what the Asian press has been writing about him because it can't be nice, but what's got to happen there? But 20-1 for a guy that literally never contends.
It's funny because for years, you and I had talked about that Hideki never got enough respect from the books versus Fowler in particular.
Yeah.
Because they were Hideki was winning at a better rate at that point. He was contending in majors, just like Fowler was. But because Fowler was popular, he was like a kid's favorite, people knew who he was, he'd be like half the odds of whatever Hideki was. And Hideki wasn't getting any respect. It's almost flipped in a weird way that Hideki still gets this weird lingering respect despite having done nothing.
Yeah.
He should be, I don't think he should be 40-1 in this field, but
when we get to the bigger events,
21?
Yeah, no, I don't understand. Again, there's been one instance where it was in Houston, was it not?
Last year, yeah.
With the one Carlos Ortiz won, where he had an insane Sunday charge and he could have hit a putt on 18, which I think would have forced a playoff, or maybe Ortiz even hit the putt on the last anyway. It didn't matter. But I literally mean the guy has not had a late Sunday tee time in forever. If there's good finishes on his resume in the last 2 years, it's because he had like a hot Sunday from nowhere. So I don't know. When he wins, I'll be happy for him. And maybe when they finally realize that something isn't as right as they think and we get to super big field events and they make him like 60, 70, 80-1, I'll be excited to have the conversation to bet him again. But until he contends, I cannot lay a cent on this man. Like Finau at least contends and loses in the 3-year window. Xander contends all the time and loses. Now, granted, if Xander was in this field, he'd be 10-1. But I don't know. I'm not there for Hideki, and I just picked on him so hard he's going to win. So congratulations, man.
I'm kind of with you on answer. I got to really think about Dustin, though, and make that. That's why I haven't bet anyone yet, because I have a just bunch of losers that I want to throw some cash on this week. Or just say, screw it. I'll have one bet. It's Dustin Johnson.
Listen, it is the week before the Masters. Might be a good week to just bet a bunch of backboard losers and hope for something.
So the 30 to 100, let's call it.
Wow, we're doing that.
Yeah, like... it's like Palmer, Tringali, Charlie Hoffman's in this mix, who's won here before. Steele's won before. Zach Johnson won at the old course back in like 2008, 2009 here. Kirk, Bradley, Lonto, Cam Davis.
So there's like about 5 guys in this range, though, before you get to 80 that could just be my card.
So you said you wanted to predict the guys that I had circled coming in because you just looked at this board and said it was a very me type of event. So who were those guys, if you were going to give them a shout-out?
Okay, but I didn't know my range to work with was going to be 30 to 80.
It's not. No, it's 30 and above, let's call it, because there's a bunch of guys
because I was looking like farther down for Pat's guys. But
I have some guys farther down as well.
Obviously, Doug Gim was on the list.
Oh, yeah, the Gim Reaper, he's on that.
Munoz?
No, Munoz I've kind of flipped on.
Okay. Palmer only being 30 to 1. I didn't know if you'd put him on your list, but I know you love to discuss the merits of him winning a golf tournament.
I actually like Tringali more than Palmer.
Was not expecting that, but Tringali's been playing very good.
And each of the past, I think it's 4 winners of this event have a top 30 the year before. Now, it's been 2 years, but Tringali did have a top 20 the last time that we saw this course. And he's just playing great. Him and Kirk. Like, remember this was the tournament that Chappell won that no one bet Chappell?
Is this also another one Henley won?
No, Henley won Houston. When Houston was the week before, then Houston got moved. But yes, it was the same sort of circumstance. That's where I feel like we are with
Is this where
Tringali and Kirk.
Hoffman hit like a 14-footer and fist pumped Patrick Reed off the course here, didn't he? Once?
Yep.
I'd read that. That was on 18. That was a big win for Charlie. Good
I
for
think
him.
that was the year with all of the crazy wind.
Yeah, it probably was. Timeline feels right. So I'm going to move back down the board because I don't know. I thought my list for you was a lot higher. Like I had Luke List on it.
List withdrew from Corrales.
But his modeling, he works very well here.
You would think so, but it doesn't. He's just not playing well, really.
But he's getting a lot of birdie looks.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really make them. Although Connors made them all the year that he was here.
Saying though, he's on the list of birdie opportunities.
You know who's like that? Higgs.
Well, Higgs might be a bet this week.
Yeah, he's like 130, 125 to 1.
He pumps the birdie looks. Could be worth a look.
Here are the guys that I'm considering, okay? Tringali, Kirk, Keegan, who just rates out perfectly.
I got Kirk, I got Keegan.
Lonto, Davis
got
Burns, Werner, Wise, Grace for sure. I'm in on Grace. Woodland. Who else?
Woodland was on my list for you.
And Champ, along with Higgs as well. And then Bhatia from way down the list at like 225 to 1. I think this is a really nice course for him. When I went back and looked at like the guys that do well at this course, it's the same guys that do well at the Safeway Open. Similar type of field, similar type of skill set that you want to have. Obviously, different putting surfaces, and that's played at a bit of an elevation in Napa. But what are courses Brennan Steele plays well at is essentially what it boils down to.
I like Steele a lot this week. I'm actually going to bet Steele.
I like Tringali better.
But that whole rate, Kirk, Keegan, Steele, Cam Davis, Varner, Burns.
So how do we?
That was the and going farther back. I did have Brandon Grace double circled. He should have been on my list for you. Won a couple weeks ago. That makes sense. But that was when I was talking about that 40 to 60 to 1 range. It is those 5 guys that really have caught my eye.
Is Fratelli not playing, or am I just not seeing him on this list?
I don't think he's playing.
I would have wanted to bet him.
And you have Lonto, and you're telling me I should be looking at Lonto and Tringali.
I like
potentially.
I just like Tringali a lot this week. I like how he's playing. I like his course history here.
30 to 1.
It's
like, but is that the books telling
Yes!
us don't bet this guy? You guys don't bet him.
Yeah, here's your winner. Don't. His odds are terrible. Don't bet him.
Because who was that a couple?
It was Chappell at this course. He was like 22-1.
I even made
It's like, we're not doing it.
But
And
it
he
was.
won.
I also felt like they were doing that with Victor a couple times. They're like, yeah, we know Victor's good, and he should be like 35, but he's 22 because we know he's going to win, and the only reason he did is because he made like a 9 on a hole. But this is also like, Pat, sometimes when you see the Browns were like favored versus the Patriots, and you're like, the books want me to take the Patriots. I'm going to take the Browns -3.
Sucker line.
It doesn't work. Narrator, it didn't work.
Should we be considering Sam Ryder at all? He's coming off a really nice performance at Honda. He just came second at Corrales. That's a pretty good run for him. I know one's an alt event, one's a weak field event, but this field isn't like super strong.
No, I think you could take a guy that played at Corrales and completely comp it to this course with wind and field strength. It doesn't.
Yeah, 8th at Honda, 2nd at Corrales, past 2 starts.
I mean, let's be honest, Pat. Any field strength this has in terms of world ranking
Is Dustin related?
But here's my point. Give me your guy. If you are Sam Ryder, you're not afraid. Like, if you have to outduel Abe Answer,
Yeah, not
that's
a
a
big deal.
good situation. If you got to outduel Ryan Palmer, that's a good situation. If I've got to win this tournament and it's between me and Corey Connors, that's a good situation. Like, none of these guys. Spieth will have the crowd, and Finau's such a nice guy, he's not going to scare you. Like, but unless you're going up against Dustin or Spieth, you think you give a shit about having to face any of these guys for a trophy? Even if you're 150-1?
No. Did Siwoo withdraw?
He was 40-1,
Oh, he was 40-1? Yeah, I don't see him on this page.
but maybe he was 40-1. I saw odds on him this morning, and he should be considered.
Yeah, he was the year
And
that...
the fact that I don't have a circle on him is because he wasn't on this page as a guy I wanted
No,
to
30,
talk about.
35-1 is the number.
So,
on him.
yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of guys that would scare you. Whoa, but Matt Kuchar's playing at 66-1.
Sure.
That might be a popular bet.
Go for it.
No, I'm not saying I'm going to make it, but just he got with match play, playing well means exponentially more TV time than your normal like 5th place finish.
Completely agree.
3rd place, I guess he finished, but
Did he beat Vic?
so I wanted to say this. Normally that's like a stone cold Vic lock. There might have been one guy in the field who would have kept me away from betting the super dog in the 3rd place game.
Kuchar.
And it's cash hungry Kuchar.
It was like
man.
a $200,000 difference between 3rd and 4th. He's gunning for that $200K.
I don't care if it was Dustin. You could any player in the field. I swear to you, I would have taken my shot at Victor and a long shot play in that match. Kuchar, no thank you.
$100-1 bombs? We said Higgs, right?
Higgs. How
Higgs.
bad's Wiesberger playing?
I don't know.
Because that's a big number.
That is a really hit
for a guy that like
Matt Wa-
wins tournaments.
Matt Wallace too. Wallace and Willett are the same number.
Okay, Wallace. Him beating Sergio on Friday was important for him.
You think so?
I say that as just a Matt Wallace fan. I think it was 110-1 is something I could be interested in, Pat.
Driving distance goes a long way. So Champ is just going to be on the card. I mentioned Safeway as a potential crossover. He's won there.
Champ is on my list of 8. So actually, if you,
Champ's above 100-1. Like that seems like a good enough time to. And Will Gordon was the other guy.
so my list: Palmer, Gim, List, Woodland, Munoz, Champ, Norlander, KHL.
Oh yeah, KH Lee.
Those
Interesting.
were the guys I thought you would talk to me about.
But Bhatia, I actually am in on.
Where was he?
Pebble.
When's it?
It was Pebble where he showed up. So his two
Has
good.
he played? He's been playing Corn Ferry. He must have
I
been.
don't know what he's been up to. He hasn't played on tour since Pebble, where he came 30th. But 9th at Safeway, 30th at Pebble. Obviously, both of those California courses. He's a California guy, so maybe that makes a lot of sense for him. But just on paper, this seems to set up well for what he does. In my mind, at least. He's 25th in the field in driving distance. That should go a long way. Aaron Wise is up there, too. I don't know what to make of that guy ever.
What the?
You okay? You getting weird messages?
That's funny. Nothing.
You had to take a time out to check your texts?
I got a weird image from my mother-in-law, but she's eating lunch at the same place as Robert Kraft, and she's taking weird woman.
She friends with Bobby Kraft?
No, I don't know who she knows that would even get her into a place that Robert Kraft has lunches. That being said, it might not even knowing Robert Kraft. It doesn't have to be a high-end establishment.
I've heard this.
Okay, I'm sorry that did distract me. But before I got distracted by a picture, I was staring at my phone looking for a name, which I can't find on the sheet. And I'm shocked he wouldn't be playing Pat, so he might be missing.
Streelman?
Keith Mitchell.
No, Killer Keith is beyond these odds, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
So any super bomb love there? I hope I'm not just naming names. Or am I just reading into like him showing half a life in Florida?
You mean at the one course where he's won before?
Yeah, exactly it. I thought this place could work for him. He must be a big number.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him. Streelman's 150. I actually like that number. I thought he wasn't playing, but he's 150 to 1. I assumed he was going to be like 50 to 1. I don't understand why his odds are so deep. Maybe.
Can I make a joke?
Where is he on?
To go with my
Keith Mitchell is 200 to 1.
So a couple weeks ago on the show, I made the joke that, but this is where before Honda, I wasn't betting Matt Jones, but I'm like, but Matt Jones is going to be like 9 under. Everyone else can be 3 under. This is going to be like the Danny Lee, right? That's like the Danny Lee.
Yeah.
Just going to get unconscious and feel like he's on a different course, but he's still not going to win.
See, I don't see Streelman on this book, but DraftKings Sportsbook has one. I thought he was in the field to begin with. It's really strange. He's played well at this course in the past.
Phil playing Honda, Phil playing this. Love Phil. Not like betting, but it's...
Cust was right when we were talking to him. Phil's trying to get enough points to get into the U.S. Open.
Good for Phil.
And I don't think that he wants to take...
I didn't see the quote, but apparently it exists where he has claimed he will not take it. He will not take it.
So he wants to earn his way in, so why not play these events and hope to get lucky?
Okay, I could just be naming names, so I don't want to do it, but I'll just make
But you'll do it.
Well, no, because I think they deserve maybe a discussion. Sepp Straka, first round leader. Bet.
Do you bet first round leaders? I was thinking about stopping first round leaders. I haven't won one of those in ages.
Oh, I'll just give them to you, but I know he's your boy. But a guy I could really get behind because I liked it at a lot of these Jabroni Field events. Malnati? Or has he just completely lost it?
I don't know what to do with him. Feels like you want to bet him in January and then from September to...
I guess.
This feels like a Malnati field.
It just felt like he's got such a good putter and his approaches were
good.
His approaches were at a career best level. So he was finding his way in the mix in some of those lower end events. And then we even got to like Torian places where he was playing well a bit.
You know who rates out really well for me is Christoph Ventura, your guy. He putts.
I see 250 to 1.
Yeah, I see 300 in other places.
I don't know. Now I'm just... I would like to know the status of Luke List. Did he actually like withdraw with an injury?
Someone tweeted me that he had vertigo, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I found the NFL making that trade on Friday very distracting to keeping up with the pods.
Okay. So...
Because it was like, whoa!
One of the things that because I just stopped giving a shit about match play after the pods were over.
Yeah.
Then I got to knockout. I had my 3 guys who made it through. I had Van Rooyen, Bubba, who I picked up live at 175.
Fratelli.
And Fratelli. And then they all got bounced Saturday morning. I was like, well, fuck this. I'm not watching anymore. I don't care. But trying to figure out all the different, how do I get Rory through? So I was like working it out, being like, oh, here's how Rory gets himself through. That part was fun to me. Just working out the different combinations of what I needed to happen for everything to go right for me. And spoiler, it didn't work out.
Every day was a cut sweat to a certain extent. So that was exciting. As it drawn on, it got annoying and boring to an extent. But hey, I don't know. We watch bad Euro golf. I could watch guys play that people don't care for.
I think that there's something about like the 40 to 80 range in this match play. That's just what we've seen over the past few years. And the move is going to be next time around.
Live betting, guys that lose day one?
No, just
What?
more favorites next time. Like, this is a huge outlier for what
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
And people will be like, this is the most random tournament. All the underdogs win. They don't.
'Kay.
This is the only year that we really saw this
Yeah.
extreme happen.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm wrong a lot. Normally, the Final Four consists of at least 1 to 2 elite, like upper end players, 1 or 2 bulldozers, like guys like your Kucher, Kisner, like unconscious players, and 1 like super bomb.
Yeah.
And I know I kind of named 5 things there,
It's
but
like,
it's usually
it's like 1 top tier, 2 middles, and a long shot.
yeah. But 1 like top tier, 1 like fringe top tier, second tier, 1 bulldozer, and 1 long shot. Like that's, and we're gonna get that next year.
And we kind of saw that this time around, except for no one considers Scheffler, or Horschel and Scheffler are very firmly like in Group 2.
Yeah, but listen, Scheffler's closer to the top of Group 2, and people would argue that Horschel would have been closer to the back end. At least if I had to rank them. But I will bet John Rahm with that road and that pod 100 years out of 100, and he didn't play well.
No.
He had to go to 18 every day versus Palmer, Munoz, and
And he should have lost in the playoff against Palmer, too. Palmer just fucked it
Okay,
up.
if John Rahm won, there should have been a plaque on the 14th hole for how every single day that hole hooked him huge, from his opponent's 3-putting to even even in the match he lost, he chipped in from off the green on 14. Yeah, whatever. I would take John Rahm at that number with that road 100 times out of 100. So give it to me again.
I knew you had him, but I was really rooting against him because if he hadn't have won, because it was him versus EVR in the next round, and I had EVR.
yeah.
I was like, give me Ryan Palmer. I'd much rather play Ryan Palmer here.
Of course, 100%. That's the one thing people are like, when it comes to match play, sort of like obviously with stroke play, but it's like, I don't give a shit what you need. Like, my self-interest come way before like anything else. Okay, back to this event here.
Yeah, this event's just a nice little. We didn't mention his name, but he needs to win in order to not miss the Masters for the
Rickie
first
Fowler?
time since 2010. Yeah, he's like 70-1. I'm out, but I figure you're in. You're
Well,
probably gonna bet him.
is there a good charity I could help out this week?
I'm sure there are.
What's the affiliate of this event? It's just the Texas Open.
It's Valero, which I don't know what that is. Is it paint?
No, it's gas.
Oh,
It's fuel, petroleum
that makes a lot of sense.
for your car. Or is it a car rental? Shit. We're Canadian. We only have like 2 companies.
It is a fuel producer.
Yeah, so it's a gas station. So what's the I'm oh, no.
So Rickie, does he have a shot here?
Where was the last time? I was Honda. I was like, he battled to make and then the Saturday at Honda. Oh my God.
It's like your boy Fleetwood, who only advanced because he advanced in the first round of the match play when he made the hole-in-one again.
Yes. And he got so lucky to make a great like par save on Friday. And then he gas canned his match to Billy. He just found the water, like in good position. What a guy, man. Come on, Tommy.
You're not doing it with Fowler.
No, it's only Monday. I will probably do something, and he'll probably do something with charity as well, because it's Rickie, and it's the last shot to the Masters. That's so sad. But hey, he's not upset. I think even he joked. He's got some
Commercials lined up that
commercials
week?
to shoot. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like there filming something.
I'm surprised he didn't play in Corrales. You too good to play the Puerto Rico or in Punta Cana?
You weren't, you know what? I won't take offense to that, because there were times where you made that exact comment about Spieth over the last like year. Like, bro, get over there.
Go get a win somewhere.
Get over there. And I don't want to bet Tony Finau, but I don't like people like a really good player the week before a major. Sometimes people are afraid of, whether it was a Finau or a Rory or even a Xander playing this week or Spieth. Like, when you haven't won in as long as those guys won at, and I know there's different lengths, but Rory a year and a half feels probably like 4 years when you have that talent. I don't know. Has it been a year and a half?
Didn't he win in China? Like a WGC in China in like November? That didn't happen, did it? So it was the year before.
Yeah,
that would have been his last win.
Anyways, I'm saying what 3 years to Finau or 4 years to Finau is like a year and a half for Rory in terms of talent. When we get to these events, like right before majors, like when you've never won anything, Finau's not thinking about the Masters.
No, he just wants to win.
Like he just wants to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know this sounds silly, but I'd rather bet him at like 35 or 40 to 1 next week than at 10 to 1 this week, 12 to 1 this week.
I actually agree with you.
Like people might think that's an insane comment, but I mean it.
I did see that there are 3 players who have 2 top 5 finishes in the last 3 Masters. Do you know who those 3 players are?
Dustin Johnson.
He's one.
Because he almost had a putt on 18 in the Tiger year.
To come through for me.
That people forget about.
So he's one of them.
2 top 5. And Finau then, right?
No, not Finau.
2 top 5s.
In the past 3 years, there's 3 players who've done it. Dustin's one of them.
Cam Smith.
Cam Smith is 2.
What are his Masters numbers?
They're a lot shorter than you'd hope.
It's not Brooks.
It's not Brooks. You are correct.
Xander.
It's not Xander.
Well, Sung Jae's only played in 1 Masters?
Correct. The answer shouldn't surprise you, but...
It's gonna, right?
Well, we were just talking about him. That's the reason I brought this up.
Oh.
Rory.
So how deep does the number get next
That's
week? What is
that's the
peak
conversation
number?
that I want to have.
What is the highest number in the orbit that we see next week? And where would you just say, I'm in? Like what if you saw 22 in?
Does he get to 20? Do you think that happens?
Well, does Rom Baby Watch hurt him getting to 20? Does that matter?
It probably doesn't matter. Cam Smith's 40 to 1.
Does Brooks being injured hurt him getting to 20? Because
Brooks is already at 20.
No, but Rory getting to 20.
I don't know because Spieth is going to stay up there, right?
Staying.
And let's say Finau wins this week. Finau will be 18 to 1.
But let's say Finau even finishes 3rd this week. Like, we don't have to give Finau a win. We just have to podium him.
Yeah. And then people will be like, oh my God, Finau.
He's going to do it. Ah! Me included. Ah!
Fuck, if Rickie wins, they'll be like, oh, Rickie's back. 10 to 1. But
Rickie wins this week, he'd be in the mid-30s next.
Oh, probably. Dustin, Bryson, Thomas, those 3, and Spieth are guaranteed to be 14 to 1 or worse. Like, nothing can really happen to them.
Yes.
Rory's not playing. Rory has played poorly. He's currently still 14 to 1. I could see him getting to 20.
Yeah, but they haven't done their... They might have knocked guys in good form. They haven't juiced up
that's
the
what I
bad
mean.
formers yet.
No, I agree with you. And Xander will stay right around 20 because that's what he does.
And he might even drop.
Nah, he might go to 22. I don't think that he'll go up. He's not playing this
What's
week.
Cantley, 25?
He's 25.
Yeah. So does Rory get to 20? Yes.
I think he does too.
We'll be able to shop. We'll be able to buy one next week, Pat.
We'll be able to shop, but I think if you want to get that Rory number, you get it early. Because if he does open at 20 or 22, just the existing narrative that we've seen is when the super elite crosses 20, you just insta-bet him, and then they win.
But it happened at the Players. You could have made that.
A little bit, but that number was not widely available to anyone.
Okay.
That was at one specific spot at a book that no one plays. So that's not really for everyone. But Thomas at the Players did hit 20 in a lot of places. Boom. Everyone was in. Rom hit 20 last year at Memorial. Boom. You were in. Webb went to 30
DJ
at
Travelers.
When this big name finally drops, they finally make the move to put them down the board. Everyone bets it, and then all of a sudden they win. It's been the one steadfast thing that's happened over the last year.
We'll probably believe they don't. But do the books take casual Rory money? He's never sort of gotten that orbit, right? Like he's a popular player because he wins. But did he take blind?
I think that he would have, but now Spieth is back in the conversation, and Spieth takes that money.
I know, and like Brooks is such a cool player to bet.
I don't think that Brooks was on that level. People love Rory, but I think the same people that would casually bet Rory would be the same people that would casually bet Spieth. And in this instance, they're going to bet Spieth. And they might do it with Justin Thomas now that he just won the Players.
It was supposed to be an immaculate month for Ralph Lauren Golf.
Did Lauren drop him as a sponsor?
Yeah.
So what's his sponsorship now? Does he have any? Because I figured he would have got them all back after winning the Players.
No, I think he still has his Titleist and his FootJoy. I don't think they dropped him, but I don't think that he's wearing company branded shirts. Although I think after they dropped him out of like goodwill, he was like, I'm still wearing the shirts.
He probably has a whole bunch.
Yeah, like I have them. They have my sponsors on them. Like this kind of happened last minute. Like,
Yeah, I got to roll with this.
we're gonna roll with this. I would assume maybe for the Masters he's newly kitted up. Listen, we don't need to get into it, but he showed immense, like, very contrite and acknowledged everything, and then he's won again. So I can't imagine
Saying that, that winning has pushed all of it to the side?
No, I'm saying that he did seem like it really affected him, and whether you believe it or not, he had publicly seemed to, even admitting like he was going into like some form of sensitivity training.
Well, that's what you have to say you're doing.
what
Do we have any confirmation that he actually did that?
Well, maybe he attended online courses.
He Zoom called in?
Yeah, I'm just saying like he's done everything right.
Yeah,
now, people would argue it's only been like 2 months.
The only thing to do right is just to don't fucking do it.
Yes.
That's the move. Just stop it.
100%. And I'm not mad that he did something wrong. He got punished. I'm saying he will come out of it because he is playing.
Well, he's going to come out of it because it's golf. He's Justin Thomas, and no one actually cares.
Okay, there. Yes. When
I say that no one actually cares, I don't mean that people aren't affected and don't care about the situation. It's just it's so low level in terms of the overall sports landscape that the sports media didn't really ever talk about.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And what like we'll talk about it on this show.
If he wins the Masters, they'll talk about it.
I don't think that they would. It's not like CBS is going to bring it up on the broadcast. Well, Justin Thomas, you've come a long way from your homophobic slurs 3 months ago.
As we sit here on a plantation in Georgia.
Yeah, you know what they would say? It's like, oh, your grandfather passed away. How did you rally back from that? That would be the overlying narrative to build up your person. And listen, he's fought back from that too. He was in a bad place overall. But to give him a pass on that is essentially what has happened. But I don't think people should forget about it.
Shouldn't forget.
Be better in the future, and then people will forgive you.
And where was it? Hawaii? So it's only been, 2 months?
3 months.
3 months. So it hasn't even been a long time. So you're right. Maybe the pass isn't fair, but
it was not as big of a story as this would have been in another sport. And it's not as big of a story as it would have been if Rory had said it or Spieth had said it. But it's Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
And as we've said, even though he wins the Players and he's won a PGA Championship, he's won the FedEx Cup, he just doesn't move the needle. Like, no one cares about it, which is really strange. But maybe, as you can see, miking him up and having him talk, maybe not the best thing. Although he was great he was like the play-by-play guy for the Brady, Manning, Tiger, Phil. He was good at that.
No, he seems like a fun, good time.
All right, picks for Valero. I said I haven't made any bets yet. What do you think we should do? Top of the board, or should I just roll out the 6 like guys who I'll have a good feeling about right now, and then by the time Friday comes along, they're all cut? What's the move? Because I'm looking at Tringali, Kirk, Cam Davis, Harold Varner, Brendan Grace, those 5 guys, and Keegan, those 6 guys. Those are the 6 guys. And they're all, I mean, Tringali's 30-1 here. He's 35-1, what I'm looking at right now. So that would be the number. You might even get a better number somewhere else that doesn't respect Cameron Tringali at all. And then from beyond that, like Champ, Higgs, Will Gordon, Bhatia, they're all like 150 and above. I think it's not a high investment week. Just roll out some of these guys, hope they get into the mix. What do you think?
My only debate is
Or Answer.
I'm not going DJ, but I am debating Answer.
I'm going to play a DJ double. DJ to win this week, DJ to win the Masters.
Sure. But Answer is the only player under 30-1 that I could make my card. Other than that, a lot of the same names, but I've got not Tringali. For me, it's Steele, Kirk, Davis, Burns, Harold.
I feel like the Burns number that got released early on DraftKings, the 85, that's gone. It's now 66, I think. Is Burns just going to... Are we all just so enamored with Burns that we don't want to miss out?
I don't know, but I think Burns at 50 or above in this field's a very fair play. I saw those bigger numbers. I was lucky to get a small piece of one of them, but even at 50, like before I knew of the other numbers, 50 had my attention because the guy just fills birdie looks.
Not recently. It's been kind of bad. Since the week that everyone bet him, he's been bad.
What was the weekend one bet on? It wasn't Honda's before that, right?
It was, yeah, I think it was API.
Get out of Florida.
Yeah, third at Genesis, miscut. Yeah, miscut at API, miscut at the Players.
Get out of Florida.
Bad at both.
He's a Louisiana kid, so.
But all of his best performances before this year had come in Florida.
I know, and this year they were in California and Phoenix, right?
He's a good player. He just needs a. I don't know if he kind of hit his peak and came back down.
Okay, yes,
Like-
because I was thinking about that earlier. Did he miss the window like a couple years ago? Kokrak was like scorching, like all
missed the
those
window.
runs. You miss your window, and then you just go back to being an everyman for a bit until you get real hot again.
Yeah, it's like Max Homa did not miss his window. He hit it.
Yeah, he hit it. And we were like, yeah, every sign pointed to him hitting it. We didn't want it 50-1. Genesis, man.
That's how I kind of feel about Keegan right now. Keegan's playing great.
He is playing great. He was phenomenal at the Honda outside of a couple instances where he got like a lot of people.
And I would say exactly the same thing with your guy Kirk and Tringali. They're just both playing great.
Kirk,
this is their window, and this is the perfect
I
tournament
know, like,
for
there
him.
are people that make these, like, if I didn't do the outright things and I was like high stakes in other parts of golf betting,
Like head-to-heads?
not even, maybe head-to-heads, I'd find guys versus Kirk, but knowing me, they'd put Kirk versus like
Answer.
someone else I like or Keegan, like somewhere I don't want to pick on. But like the Kirk top 20 bets have been unconscious this year. And I know they don't pay a ton, but I put them on my weekly like prop video.
And they
for the
save
most
they
part.
save your week?
Well, I would save a week. I'll lose other props, but he's so freaking reliable. Except there was that incident where I think it was the Players, Pat, where he really shot the bed late on Sunday.
Yes.
He missed the top. It was
He finished 48th at the Players.
I don't know how. I'm just gonna forget about that one. But other than that, it's been really solid.
Yeah,
Like,
from Sony through API, he had 4 top 20s and 6 starts. Maybe he's on the downside of it. The driving's still good. The approaches are still good. We know he can fill it up when the
Okay,
time comes.
does this
And
course-
I think that he's played well here, too.
Yes, he has. And
Miscut last year, 8th year before that, miscut. 13th year before that, 8th year before that.
mixed bag. We won outright winner.
Yeah,
Miscut.
but you have some good
Yeah.
top finishes there, too.
He's very. Do we have long par fours here? Because he's very tidy with those like 440, 50-yard par fours.
The hardest holes on this course, I think there's 4 of them, 450 to 500. Those are the 4 hardest holes on the course. But everything else, there's 2 drivables, or there's one drivable, number 17, if you want to go down that road. There's some shorties here. And he doesn't get off base super quickly. Like, he's not the longest player, but he tends to keep it in the fairway. Sort of like a Corey Connors type player.
No, listen, it's Chris Kirk. There's like an ask because even if he's playing great, there's like a ceiling he's going to hit.
Yeah, but it's a win here is like sort of his ceiling, it feels like.
Sure, but I just mean.
And Billy
like,
Horschel just won. We all know when Billy Horschel plays well, all of a sudden Chris Kirk comes along.
Well, they have similar but different stories. Chris had his alcohol problems and Billy's was his wife's.
I was just thinking about the year that Billy won the FedEx Cup, that Chris Kirk was
Oh,
the other
yes.
guy who kept coming second.
Yeah. No, it's true. They paralleled in heaters.
One and done picks for the week. You can check out our cheat sheets later in the week. A new one and done is starting at fantasygolfchampionships.com. Hit the description if you want the link. It's $100 a play. Only 1,150 spots available. It starts at the Masters, so I suggest you go get your spot in it right now if you want to play. If you don't want to play, then I guess you don't have to go do it. But I'm in it already, so I'm dead money, so just cross one of the names off that list. But it's a restart. If you're doing poorly in the one and done, or you're doing great in the one and done, just want to keep winning more money, highly suggest a new one and done. Cust picked first. He is picking Corey Connors. Just like Corey Connor. We had a lot of bad bets last week. That might have been the worst claim of the week. Corey Connors locked to get out of this group 0-3. But he's back on Corey Connors this week. Cuss has a huge affinity for taking the defending champion at every event, I've noticed, in the one and done. I'm currently winning the one and done, but you are not far behind me.
Do you have the sheet there?
Yeah.
Because there's someone I want to use, but I'm certain I used them.
You are up because you had John Rahm last week, and you beat me because that's a guy I wanted to talk about was Hatton. Hatton's a bit broke because he was not good at the match.
Not good.
Because before, like, he was bad, but a lot of it was, like, chipping and putting. It's like, that's weird.
There weren't like 4-footers for birdie.
No. Last week he was just bad.
Bad. So I'm gonna take answer.
All right. I've already used answer, so that's good news for me. I am going to take.
Surprised I didn't use them. But okay.
I think that there is a viable case, and maybe you shouldn't be taking my advice on this because I'm doing poorly in the one and done, that if you wanted to burn Dustin, you might not get a better win equity shot with Dustin.
Yes.
Now, I know a lot of people are saving him for next week.
I love your case. A win is a win. What's he going to get? $1.3 million for winning this? $1.2 million?
Yeah. So he would have to come in. So if he doesn't come first or second, if you use him next week, if he wins this, you're better off burn. How scared are you that Dustin just pulls what he did at St. Jude a few years ago?
At the Masters?
No, this week. That he's just like, I'm going to shoot 25 under.
Then I don't have to watch a second of TV this weekend.
How concerned are you for that?
That's always, you see Dustin versus this field? Yeah, I don't know. It's scary.
I'm taking Cam Tringali as my one.
But I like the fact, what's Cameron Tringali's number if Dustin Johnson isn't playing?
22?
That's crazy.
What's Finau's number if Dustin isn't playing? I can't imagine it would be that much different.
I don't know.
Because DraftKings has him, 13 to 1?
That's a pretty good question.
What's it going to be, 9 to 1 to win the tournament?
It's a good question, because even in Detroit, where he was... No, Bryson won Detroit.
Yeah, Bryson was 6 to 1, and he won.
There was what event did Michael Thompson win? Minnesota?
3M, yeah.
So I think Finau might have been the...
No, Dustin was.
He was second... He was maybe the second guy there also. He had a Sunday tee time. He
and he couldn't outduel Thompson or Wawrinski.
Yeah.
Once again, newsletter, Listeners League link, one and done. Smash a like, give me a winner. Follow Geoff on Twitter at gfienberg17. Catch him at ftndaily.com Wednesdays and Fridays on the Geoff Fienberg Show. Completely free to watch, so you best go do that. Also, leave a rating and review for the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Baseball starts this week. I got one show up, and there's some betting shows. Well, starting every day with the season on fantasy baseball picks and bets on Mayo Media Network. So go sub to all that fun stuff as well. All right, I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!